So we want to set up our practice to be a space for music. And often this means that we really need to try hard to leave the rest of our lives, the rest of our day, the rest of the things that we're thinking about or worried about outside of the practice room. And one way you can do this is by turning off your phone, turning it on to do not disturb or airplane mode, so that you don't have notifications interrupting your practice. So you don't get that notification that you need to pay a bill tomorrow and then you start stressing about where that money's coming from. So that can wait. You're going to be stressed about it regardless, but you don't have to be stressed in the hour that you've set aside for practice. There's no reason why we must be interrupted with these often quite stressful messages all the time. So that kind of stress can wait. And the other thing that we can do is keep bringing our mind back to either the breath or maybe the feel of the instrument in our fingers, the feeling of our feet connected to the floor, just some kind of anchor that brings us into the present moment. This is very helpful if we find that our mind has left the practice room altogether and it is currently planning the shopping list, or it is planning the email that you have to write when you finish your practice. So if you find that your mind has wandered well out of the practice session and is doing something else, then bring your attention back to the feeling of the instrument in your hands, the feeling of your feet connected to the ground, the feeling of the chair beneath you if you're sitting, the feeling of your breath through your body. And if you're a singer, the feeling of your breath as you inhale for each phrase and exhale for each phrase. Or if you were a horn player or a wind player, the feeling of the breath through the instrument. So just something that is an anchor for you, whatever your instrument is, that you can bring your attention back to when you feel like your mind has left the practice room. And then other things we can do is we can kind of set up our practice space to make it so that we don't have distractions from the rest of our life, which it kind of depends on your living circumstances and how big a place you have. If the only place like me you can practice is in the kitchen, I have to try not to think about what I'm going to cook, because I can sort of see, and then I start to get distracted by looking at a few ingredients that are running low on the shelf. And so just actively bringing myself back into the practice session. It doesn't happen all the time. It usually happens on days that I'm not really feeling the practice, I'm feeling distracted, and I'm looking for an excuse to get out of the practice. And so my mind is searching for anything it can grab onto, not to have to concentrate on whatever it is I'm working on in my practice that day. Maybe because it's difficult and I sound bad, and I want to avoid feeling bad about myself because my practice is not sounding the way that I want it to sound on that day. So these are just a few ideas, and I think in your practice today you can also just observe where you are. Are you fully in the practice room, or have other parts of your life, other things that you were thinking about, started to creep into this practice session? And if they have, then what are some ways that you can set up your practice so that you give yourself the best opportunity to be 100% focused on the work you want to do? And of course we have days where we're distracted, like me being distracted deciding what I'm going to cook for dinner that day, but then it's just a matter of bringing ourselves back to the feeling of the instrument, back to the breath, back to the anchoring of our feet in the floor, and showing up the next day having left the rest of our day at the door. Whatever happened before, whatever we have to do after the practice, we set that aside at the door and we focus on our music, and then we put our instrument down, we open the door again, and life is there waiting for us as it always is, and we deal with it in that moment. Hi, I'm Erica. I am a musician and music teacher, and I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe for more practice tips, motivation and inspiration. And also share this video with any friends who are also practicing music. And finally, if you like, you can stick around for a short meditation at the end of this video to prepare you for a great day's practice. So happy practicing, and I'll see you next time. Bye. So let's just take a few moments now to prepare the body and the mind for practice. Make your space comfortable. Take out your instrument and any books or music you need for your practice. And then when you're ready, coming to a place of stillness, either sitting or standing, maybe with your instrument. Soft focus in the eyes. And then taking deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Then another inhale, and with the exhale, closing your eyes. We're going to scan through the body from top to bottom, just watching as any tension in the body releases, melts away. Starting at the top of the body, the head, the forehead, the point between the eyebrows, the cheekbones, the lips, tongue, the neck, all the tension releasing, melting away. The shoulders, the upper back, and the chest. The upper half of each arm, the lower half of each arm, the wrists, every muscle in the hands, and in each finger, down each joint all the way to the fingertips, relaxing, releasing the diaphragm, the lower back, the area of the pelvis, the upper half of each leg, the knees, and the lower half of each leg. Every muscle releasing, relaxing. The ankles, the feet, and finally the toes. Every muscle in the body released, relaxed, at ease. And then just sitting for a moment, taking another few breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. And then when you're ready, blinking the eyes open, ready for practice.